Hello. Okay, let me assume. So in part, there are 3 time estimates, as I said. So we have to convert these 3 time estimates. Now, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have to convert these 3 time estimates, which are optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely time, which associated with each activities, into a single time estimate using this formula. तो पार्ट में आपको क्या करना है, एक्चुअली मैं आपको थोड़ा सिंपली बता देता हूँ. How the part is different than CPM. CPM मेथड आप पहले डिस्कशन कर चुके. तो CPM मेथड में आपका हर एक एक्टिविटी का एक एक टाइम एस्टिमेट दिया रहता है, ठीक है ना, सिंगल वैल्यू. But in case of part, what you are using, keep part believes that the activity time may not be a fixed value, but it may vary. It may vary between 2 extremes, that is optimistic time and pessimistic time, right? And it follows the beta distribution. So you have to find the mean time for each of the activities using this formula. This formula is TO, that is optimistic time, plus 4 times of most likely time, 4TM, plus TP, that is the pessimistic time, divided by 6. Okay? So this formula is applicable for beta distribution. This आप right hand side में figure देख सकते हो. This is a beta distribution. थोड़ा bell shape है, but it is having some skewness, right? It is not symmetrical. It is having some skewness. Skewness means the peak is shifted towards the optimistic time. रिवर्स भी हो सकता है, आपका पीक हो सकता है टीपी की तरफ भी रह सकता है skewed, but it will not be at center. If it is at center, then it will be the Gaussian or the normal distribution. तो यहाँ पे आपको सिंपली द मीन टाइम कैलकुलेट करने के लिए ये फॉर्मूला यूज करना पड़ेगा, TO plus 4TM plus TP, और TO is the optimistic time जो कि सबसे मिनिमम टाइम होता है, और TM मोस्ट लाइकली टाइम, और TP पेसिमिस्टिक टाइम. पेसिमिस्टिक टाइम सबसे लॉन्गेस्ट टाइम होता है कोई भी एक्टिविटी का, एंड TM दैट इज मोस्ट लाइकली विल बी समवेयर बिटवीन TO एंड TP. ठीक है, तो you will find this mean time for the activity, and remember these time estimates are for each of the activities, not the project, right? For each of the activities. तो यहाँ पे आप फिगर में भी देख सकते हो, जो आपका TE है, that is the the mean time जो average time calculate किया, that will lie at such a location which will cover 50% of the area of that curve, below the curve, to either side of that. So that's why it is mean time. Mean time means there is 50% of chance, 50% of probability that the project, that activity will be completed within that time. So that is the mean time, right? TE. That's why 50% of the area. Are you getting what I'm saying? Okay. So the next term that is used in case of these activities are standard deviation of an activity. Standard deviation basically show कर रहा है कि इसकी जो optimistic time और the pessimistic time कितना spread है ना, कितना dispersed है, कितना उसमें gap है, right? So if there is a large gap between TP and TO, that means the spread or the standard deviation of that activity is more. And mathematically, you can find the standard deviation of an activity by dividing this TP minus TO difference by 6. Again, this is the feature of the beta distribution, right? So these two formula, that is for TE and sigma, that you have to make use of for part calculations. Once you are finding this single value time for each of the activities, then the rest of the computation are similar to CPM. Means you can go for the forward pass calculation, you can find all the values as you have done in previous cases, like you can have blocks and you can fill, right? The rest of the things are same. The only difference is that instead of a single time, there are 3 times will be given for each of the activity. Now, another difference for POT is that now you have something called standard deviation for each of the activity, right? Now, if once you find the standard deviation and the average time or the mean time for each of the activities, then you can do that. You can calculate that what is the mean time for the completion of the whole project, right? These are for the individual activities. Now, what is the completion time for the whole project? That you have to calculate. Let me explain how you do that. Okay. For that, let us take one example so that it will be clear. Okay. Can you see the slide now? Numerical and POT.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm trying to explain a numerical and POT so that these things will get clear and you can understand how it is different than the CPM, right? So I'm exactly focusing on how it is different than CPM so that you know what is CPM and some calculation with that. Even if you have some doubts, again I will tell you, please come to the classroom 211 in the given time duration. So you bring all your doubts, right? I'll be happy to explain it one by one, no problem. Because so this online mode of this is not really satisfactory. So we have 3 days for that. So you can come and meet me if you have some doubts. Okay, but again, I'll tell you, I'll advise all of you to come to the class because there are many more things to be done, right? Apart from doubt clearing, I have the things like assignment discussion and the assessment from teacher side. Everything is involved in that. So please, all of you, next year to come to classroom and meet me there and have some discussion. Okay. So I'll take this numerical. See this right hand table. So what it is given here. Again, this is a peculiar case. Here, look, the activities are given. But the activities here are given in some numerals, right? It is not like a B, C, D or something else. It is like 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4, right? Activities. So listen to me carefully. This is a mode of giving the precedence relationships actually. This is another mode. Instead of writing A, B, C, then writing the predecessor activities, right? You will see these activities are given in numbers, right? Numerals. That means you can easily construct the network just by looking at these numbers. So activity 1, 2 means it must be activity which is starting from node 1 and going to node 2. That's why it is 1, 2. Similarly, the next activity is 1, 3. So starting from node 1. These numbers are in fact nodes, right? So remember, this is another way of giving the precedence table. Instead of writing activity name and then the predecessors, you can also ready to handle these kind of situations like because the precedence relationship is hidden in it. It is already there because you can easily draw the network just by looking at these numbers. So the node numbers are given. Okay. Now the other thing is that for each activity, you can see there are 3 times are given: TO, TM, and TP. TO is the optimistic time, the minimum one. TM is the most likely time, which is in between these two, and TP is the pessimistic time. So for all the activities, all the times are given. So as I told you, the first task for handling a POT problem is that in the next column, you convert all the 3 times, right, into T suffix E, right? That is something called the mean time or the estimated time, right? So that will be, what is the formula? Anyone? What is the formula to calculate TE? Can anyone tell me what is the formula I have shown you few slides back? No, I'm not remembering. So the formula is TO plus 4TM plus TP divided by 6. So remember it. TO plus 4TM plus TP by 6, because see the numerator becomes 4 terms, I mean 6 terms. TO, TP as it is, and you are giving 4 times weightage to the TM. So in total it becomes 6 the weightage factor. So you have to divide by 6. So that way you can have another column which will tell you what is the TE just by calculating. Then you also calculate what is the standard deviation sigma for each of these activities. Right? Standard deviation. What is the formula for standard deviation? Yes. Okay. The standard deviation formula is TP minus TO divided by 6. Just the difference between TP and TO, that's the maximum and minimum, divide that by 6. So in the next column also, you calculate the standard deviation of this. So what is the question actually? The question is, for the given activities, determine critical path. Similar to CPM method, we are also asked to find what is the critical path. Calculate variance and standard deviation for each activity. So for each activity, you calculate the standard deviation and variance. Okay, variance is not a different term. If you square the standard deviation, that will give you variance. That is a statistical term, so which is square of standard deviation. You must be knowing this. Calculate the probability of completing the project in 26 days. Okay. So calculation of the probability, in fact, will require a kind of probability chart. So that I will just explain, but it may not be possible for you to have the chart and all other things in the upcoming exam. But you should know the process. Okay. So let me show you first what is the network diagram. Okay, this is the network diagram, right, which is constructed based on that table. Right, so you can see 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4, whatever values are given. Based on that, you can construct the network. Right. Now look at this calculation. As I said, the first task for part is that you find the TE. TE is found by using the same formula, TO plus 4TM plus TP by 6. And variance. Variance is TP minus TO divided by 6 whole square. Why whole square? Because square of standard deviation. If you are not squaring it, that gives you only standard deviation. Now, you are asked to find the critical path. Look at this figure now. Once you find a single value, जैसे आप हर एक एक्टिविटी के लिए टाइम एस्टिमेट कैलकुलेट कर देंगे using the formula TO plus 4TM plus TP by 6, then the rest of calculation is similar to CPM. No difference. So as you can see here, so all the nodes, there are two values are given. जैसे हम fast process हम फर्स्ट मेथड अडॉप्ट किए थे, आपको याद होगा, हर एक नोड के पास दो वैल्यू लिखते थे ब्लॉक बना के. इट इज सेम साइन कन्वेंशन, राइट. सो इट इज एक्टिविटी ऑन आर्क या एक्टिविटी ऑन नोड. एनीवन?
Sir, activity on node.
No. It gives a it creates that confusion. In fact, look at this figure carefully. It is not activity on node. It is activity on arc. Why? Because look at this figure table. Activity 1, 2. Activity 1, 2 means 1, 2 is an activity which connects node 1 and 2. Same thing we are doing here. So the activity that is a blue color line is an activity which is connecting the nodes 1 and 2. Right. So activity is not represented as a node. Activity is an arrow here also. ठीक है? तो यहाँ पे हम उस देखो साइन कन्वेंशन में क्या होता है ना, ऐसे अलग अलग सोर्स कहीं पे ऐसे बना दिया है, सर्कल के अंदर ही दो वैल्यू लिख दिया है. सो आई कैनॉट गारंटी इट कि हमेशा जो है उसको बाहर लिखा जाएगा. दैट इज वन ऑफ द मेथड. सो इसमें ये भी पॉसिबल है कि आप इस नोड के अंदर दो वैल्यू लिखे हो, जैसे हम दो ब्लॉक बनाते थे ना पहले एक्टिविटी ऑन आर्क में, सेम थिंग. तो यहाँ एक्टिविटी ऑन आर्क ही है और आपके हर एक सर्कल के अंदर दो वैल्यू लिखा है. दैट इज नथिंग बट द रेक्टेंगुलर ब्लॉक्स यूज्ड टू हैव. अब आप समझ सकते हो ये कैलकुलेशन सेम है और ये फॉरवर्ड पास किया होगा और लास्ट पॉइंट 24 हुआ होगा, फिर बैकवर्ड पास करके कंप्लीट किया होगा। ठीक है, नाउ इज इट क्लियर? ठीक है, so if you look at this alternative paths, I told you how to find the alternative, I mean the critical path in such cases. You find what are the alternative paths and you identify the path which is giving the maximum time, and that is the time which is mentioned in the last node. तो आप यहाँ देख सकते हो जो ब्लू लाइन वाला पाथ है, that is 9 plus 6 plus 9, that is going to be 24, and that is the maximum time and that is the critical path. तो यहाँ पे आप क्रिटिकल पाथ आइडेंटिफाई कर लिए, दैट इज 1 2 4 6, राइट, नोड वाइज आप लिख सकते हो 1 2। यहाँ पे एक्टिविटी का कोई नाम ही नहीं है, ठीक है, एक्टिविटी नेम इटसेल्फ इज 1 2, नॉट एबीसीडी, ये भी पॉसिबल है। ओके, सो द क्रिटिकल पाथ इज 1 2 4 6 विथ टाइम ड्यूरेशन टीई। टीई, व्हाट इज टीई? टी इज द एस्टिमेटेड टाइम। ये जो हर एक एक्टिविटी में जो टाइम आप लिखे हो, जैसे 9 6 9, ये आपको कहाँ से आया? ये आपको मिला जो आपको तीन टाइम एस्टिमेट्स मिला था, उसका मीन टाइम यूज करके फॉर बीटा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन। ठीक है ना, तो जैसे हम टीओ प्लस 40m प्लस टीपी बाई 6 किए थे, तो उसमें 9 मिला होगा 1 2 का, तो सेम टाइम को हम यहाँ पे अभी मेंशन कर रहे हैं। ठीक है, तो कोई भी नेटवर्क का जब क्रिटिकल पाथ हम निकाल रहे हैं पॉट में भी या सीपीएम में भी, तो हम उस पाथ का टोटल टाइम एस्टिमेट को ऐड करेंगे। तो यहाँ पे भी हर एक इंडिविजुअल एक्टिविटी का जो टाइम एस्टिमेट है या मीन टाइम है, ठीक है, उसको हम ऐड कर दे रहे हैं। तो 9 plus 6 plus 9 is 24, that is the duration or the minimum duration for the project completion. It is similar to your CPM, but what makes the part calculation different? So there comes the role of standard deviation. ठीक है, आपको याद होगा कि हम हर एक पाथ का एक स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन भी निकाल के रखे हैं, या इसका स्क्वायर वेरिएंस जिसको हम कहते हैं। so इस स्लाइड में आप देखिए, हर एक एक्टिविटी का हम एक वेरिएंस निकाल दिया। ठीक है, टीपी माइनस टीओ बाई 6, खाली इतना करेंगे, दैट इज सिग्मा। अगर हम उसको स्क्वायर कर देंगे, दैट इज वेरिएंस। तो हर एक एक्टिविटी का वेरिएंस निकालें। सो व्हाट इज द सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ दैट? लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड दिस। पॉट में एक्चुअली हम क्या कर रहे हैं? पॉट में हम ये अज्यूम कर रहे हैं कि हर एक एक्टिविटी का जो टाइम ड्यूरेशन है वो फिक्स नहीं है, राइट, इट इज प्रोबेबिलिस्टिक, इट इज फॉलोइंग बीटा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन। तो जो 24 डेज आप कह रहे हो, 24 डेज कह रहे हो, इनफैक्ट इसका सही इंटरप्रिटेशन है कि देयर इज a 50% chance, listen to me carefully, there is a 50%, 50, there is a 50% chance that this project will be completed in 24 days. Now why I am saying 50%? तो आपको याद होगा जब मैं बीटा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन आपको दिखा रहा था, उसमें जो टी का जो फॉर्मूला जब हम दिखा रहे थे, हम कहे ना 50% ऑफ द एरिया को कवर कर रहा है, तो दैट फॉर्मूला टीओ प्लस 40m बाई प्लस टीपी बाई 6 और बीटा। तो इसका मतलब है जब हम उसी मीन टाइम को टोटल ऐड कर दिए जो कि 24 डेज हुआ, दैट मीन्स आपका स्टेटमेंट ये होगा, द प्रोजेक्ट कैन बी कंप्लीटेड इन 24 डेज, द प्रोबेबिलिटी इज 50%, द प्रोबेबिलिटी इज 50%, राइट, ये स्टेटमेंट सही है। नाउ कमिंग टू स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन, ये जितने भी एक्टिविटीज है, हर एक एक्टिविटीज का आप स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन या वेरिएंस निकाल चुके हैं। वेरिएंस शो कर रहा है कि उस टाइम में कितना वेरिएशन पॉसिबल है। ठीक है, जैसे जिसका 9 है, तो उस 9 में कितना वेरिएशन पॉसिबल है? आप 9 तो मीन टाइम दे दिए, बट उसके वेरिएशन कितना पॉसिबल है, राइट? सो दैट इज रिफ्लेक्टेड बाय इट्स स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन या वेरिएंस। तो जिसका भी स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन ज्यादा है या वेरिएंस भी ज्यादा है, क्योंकि वो उसका बस स्क्वायर ही है, तो इसका मतलब है कि वो मीन टाइम का दोनों साइड में प्रोबेबिलिटी ज्यादा है, वेरिएंस ज्यादा है, बिकॉज टीपी माइनस टीओ ज्यादा है। टीपी माइनस टीओ क्या शो कर रहा है? इट इज द रेंज कि उस एक्टिविटी के कितने स्प्रेड है। जिसका टीपी और टीओ पास से, मतलब नैरो रेंज, दैट मीन्स उसके वेरिएशन के चांस कम है। ठीक है, ये है इसका पीछे का जो कंसेप्ट है, राइट। नाउ after finding this 24 days, which is the average time, the mean time for project completion, and the probability is 50%. आप उसी क्रिटिकल पाथ के जो इस केस में 3 एक्टिविटी है 1 2 2 4 एंड 4 6 3 एक्टिविटी है क्रिटिकल एक्टिविटी है तो इस 3 एक्टिविटी के जो वेरिएंस है उस टेबल से आप देख सकते हो जो वेरिएंस है 1 2 2 4 एंड 4 6 के 1 2 का वेरिएंस 1 है 2 4 का 4 एंड 4 6 का 1.778 ये जो तीनों वेरिएंस है ठीक है तो इस तीनों वेरिएंस को अगर आप सिंपली ऐड कर देते हो you have to simply add the sum of the variance of the paths or with the critical activities along the critical paths gives you the variance of the whole project तो ये जो 24 days आप निकाले हो so this 24 days is the mean time and sum of all the variances along the critical path is the variance of this project. But the fact is that ये जो आपके last time जो total time आप निकाल रहे हो by adding all the individual time estimates, mean time estimates, that distribution is no longer beta. Listen to me carefully, right? Project completion time does not follow beta distribution. It follows normal distribution, remember, because of some theorem called central limit theorem, right? So because of central limit theorem, the whole population follows normal distribution, whereas individual samples are following beta distribution. तो यहाँ पे आप प्रोजेक्ट के कंटेक्स्ट में कह सकते हो कि the individual activities are following beta distribution, जिसका कि कैलकुलेशन मेथड अलग है. Whereas जब आप प्रोजेक्ट का टोटल प्रोजेक्ट का टाइम एस्टिमेट निकाल रहे हो by adding all the individual times along the critical path, by adding all the individual variances along the critical path. और एक चीज आपको याद रखना होगा ये जो क्रिटिकल पाथ का जो स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन है उसको ऐड नहीं करना है ठीक है फॉर द प्रोजेक्ट टाइम you have to add all the variances because the sum of variances is not equal to the sum of standard deviation. क्योंकि स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन क्या है कि वेरिएंस का रूट ओवर हो जाता है ठीक ना तो क्रिटिकल पाथ के जितने भी एक्टिविटीज है सब एक्टिविटीज के वेरिएंस को ऐड किया जाता है टू फाइंड द वेरिएंस ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट. तो ये मेरे ख्याल से नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में हो सकता है. If you have any questions in between, you can ask me. Here, standard deviation is calculated for activities of critical path. So we get, देखिए, V1 plus V2 plus V3. V1, V2, V3 are the variances. इसमें 3 critical activities था, ठीक है? 1, 2, 2, 4 and 4, 6. वो तीनों का variance को add कर दिया गया. That becomes the variance of the whole project. Then उसका root over निकाल सकते हो. That will give you the standard deviation of the project. But you cannot add the standard deviation of the activities to get the standard deviation of the project. Remember this. क्योंकि यहाँ पे mistakes होता है. Right? Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank God. तो यहाँ पे ये चीज मैं एम्फसाइज कर रहा हूँ कि see POT is basically a kind of probabilistic approach where you are not sure about the time. आप उसमें डिटरमिनिस्टिक टाइम हर एक एक्टिविटी का नहीं लेना चाहते हो तो इसको आप कैसे हैंडल कर रहे हो हर एक एक्टिविटी का आप 3 टाइम एस्टिमेट लेके उसका because it is following beta distribution you are finding the mean time for each activity and variance or standard deviation for each activity. Then using those single value for each activity you are following the same CPM method. ठीक है CPM method में जैसे करते थे backward and forward calculation thing you are arriving and filling all the values at each and every node right then you are making some judgment about the project completion time right? For that what you have to do the project completion time is following a normal distribution whereas the individual activities are following बीटा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन. तो एक बार आप इंडिविजुअल एक्टिविटी का ये सब टाइम कैलकुलेशन कर दिए दैट इज टी एंड सिग्मा या वी देन यू हैव नथिंग टू डू विथ द बीटा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन. इसका काम खत्म हो गया. Then you have to follow which is the critical path, and you have to find what is the total completion time. तो total completion time जो आया उसका मीनिंग है कि it is a 50% probability that it will follow. Now for that critical path you have to find its standard deviation. Otherwise you cannot find the probability of project completion using normal distribution. मैं अभी उस पर नहीं जा रहा हूँ कि probability कैसे निकाला जाता है, because that will be beyond the scope of our kind of study and examination, because I will not able to provide you normal distribution chart in the exam, and it is not possible to find the area. But you should know that these things are the actual utilization of the POT network, right? That is the actual objective of conducting the POT. So by doing that, what I'm saying now, using probability theory, that is the normal distribution, the area under curve for normal distribution, आप comfortably कह सकते हो कि जैसे वो लास्ट एग्जाम्पल में 24 डेज हुआ है ना, 24 डेज हुआ, तो आप कह रहे हो कि 24 डेज में प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीशन होने का प्रोबेबिलिटी 50% है. मान लो कोई पूछेगा आपका व्हाट इज द प्रोबेबिलिटी दैट इट कैन बी कंप्लीटेड इन 20 डेज, उसका भी चांस है. सी प्रोजेक्ट कैन बी कंप्लीटेड इन 20 डेज ऑल्सो, क्योंकि आपके एक्टिविटीज अब एक फिक्स टाइम नहीं ले रहा है. देयर इज ए प्रोबेबिलिटी कि वो जल्दी भी खत्म हो सकता है. देयर इज ऑप्टिमिस्टिक टाइम फॉर ईच एंड एवरी एक्टिविटी. तो सपोज समबडी इज आस्क्ड व्हाट इज द प्रोबेबिलिटी दैट इट विल बी कंप्लीटेड इन 20 डेज, तो आप उसको नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन चार्ट यूज करके बता सकते हो यस देयर इज अ प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ कंप्लीटिंग इन 20 डेज. ठीक है. आई विल आस्क यू वेरी लॉजिकल क्वेश्चन. जैसे ये 24 डेज का प्रोबेबिलिटी 50% है, ठीक है, 24 का हमेशा 50% रहेगा. तो कैन यू जस्ट गेस, सपोज समबडी इज आस्किंग व्हाट इज द प्रोबेबिलिटी दैट इट विल बी कंप्लीटेड इन 20 डेज 20, तो उसका प्रोबेबिलिटी 50 से कम होगा या ज्यादा होगा? कैन एनीवन टेल मी?
Less than 50, sir.
Less than 50. That is what you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Logical and correct. See, वो क्या एग्जैक्ट वैल्यू होगा वो तो आप प्रोबेबिलिटी टेबल से यूज करोगे, तो नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का वैल्यू यूज करोगे तब मिल जाता है. बट यू शुड अंडरस्टैंड कि 24 डेज का प्रोबेबिलिटी अगर 50% है, तो 24 डेज से कम टाइम में खत्म होने का प्रोबेबिलिटी डेफिनेटली 50% से कम होगा, क्योंकि आप प्रोजेक्ट को और जल्दी खत्म करना चाहते हो. हर आज 24 डेज से ज्यादा टाइम में खत्म होने का प्रोबेबिलिटी क्या होगा? 50% से ज्यादा होगा. ठीक है, क्योंकि आप और ज्यादा टाइम दे रहे हो प्रोजेक्ट को. ठीक है, इसका प्रोबेबिलिटी और ज्यादा है. सो this is the actual objective of conducting the POT or the program evaluation review technique. Now instead of a deterministic approach, you are following a probabilistic approach, right? So this is something. Do you have any questions? Go ahead, otherwise I'll complete for today. Okay, there is another important announcement regarding the quiz for 4th module. ठीक है. Actually tomorrow we have a class at 9. So for the first time I am thinking that instead of taking the quiz at 9 a.m. Let me teach more detail. I mean, there are 2-3 more slides are there for the cost calculation problem that is incomplete. So I want to discuss that. So can you suggest me some more time tomorrow for the quiz, maybe 40 minutes or so? Okay, let me give some option. 6 p.m. Is it okay?
Sir, it's okay. At 6.
Sir, tomorrow is your lab.
Tomorrow?
Sir, tomorrow is lab Viva, sir.
At what time?
Sir, it will start from like 4 to 6.
4 to 6. I need the maximum 40 minutes. So anyway.
Sir, 6:30 will be okay.
6:30. 6:30 will be okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 7. No problem. We can have at 7 also. Agree. I just have to set the time. Okay. So I'll mention the time in the this MS team. So all of you will get that notice, and most probably I'll get some time at 7 p.m. Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Maybe your evening walk will be affected. Anyway. Or give me any other, suitable time. First half, in the afternoon, 12, you have some classes. Okay, it is difficult to get,
सर
consent
थर्सडे को
from-
ले लीजिएगा सर.
Thursday को ले लें, okay. Okay, that will be fine. So Thursday, what time? Give me a time on Thursday, no problem.
So anytime, sir. I guess it is an holiday.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. So I'll post it. So Thursday, which is a holiday, but I'll take any convenient time like 10 a.m. Okay, 10 a.m. Okay, or maybe our usual time 9. Okay. So Thursday 9 a.m.
Hello, sir. Sir, Thursday, second half would be better, sir. Actually, on Thursday, I'll be traveling in the first half.
Okay, so that is what happens actually. It's a big class. So anyway, Thursday second half, 4 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it will be okay.
Okay, it's done. So Thursday 4 p.m. I will post here, and all of you should attend the quiz. If anybody miss, then that creates a lot of headache for me actually. So everybody should attend it. I'll post just today itself. And fourth module, all the materials has been shared. And maybe within couple of days, I have to give and assign your assignments, which is also again 10 marks, right? So whatever troubles are there, we'll troubleshoot that in the physical meetings. And I'll advise all of you to come and meet me. I'm not that a bad person. Okay, so with this I'll stop here.